Welcome to the Trading Sliders Podcast. Here we go, episode number 76 of the Trading Sliders Podcast. How's everybody doing out there? I'm Bobby Puckett. Not in studio with me is Kurt the Flash Bennett. Kurt is currently at a bowling tournament with his grandson, so flying solo tonight. It's coming out about a day later. Go still get it out Monday night, but it's kind of under the weather this weekend. Had a bunch going on and just quite didn't feel that good yesterday. So we're going to give this our best go around. This week's guest is T-Mac Terry McCarl out of Altoona, Iowa. Terry McCarl is an 8-time Knoxville Speedway track champion, an 8-time Huset track champion, member of the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, better off known nowadays in the sprint car world as, just the boys' dad, Carson and Austin McCarl. They're traveling the world, living the dream that their dad lived for years, beating up and down the road. But so this week's guest is T-Mac Terry McCarl. Very fun interview we had about a month ago. There's a little bit of background noise because this is at a racetrack. During a rain delay / street stock feature was going on, but I promise you, it's well worth a little background noise. I know we say this each and every week, but please take care of the people that take care of us. Our sponsor of the week is Diesel Boys LLC. If you need any type of diesel truck work done and you're in the Kentucky area, reach out to Brandon Hooker and Diesel Boys LLC. Our deep dive is being brought to you by Kentucky Clutch and Performance. If you need any type of automotive work done on any type of clutch whatsoever, we do cars, semi-trucks, pulling trucks, race cars. Reach out to Chris and the guys at Kentucky Clutch. Our slider of the week being brought to you by Walt at Speed Decals. If you need any type of vinyl work done, he does race car wraps, make banners, whatever you need, reach out to Walt at Speed Decals. And our crash of the week being brought to you by Dio Handyman Remodeling. Weather's warming up here in the Kentucky area. We have races in the area this week, but weather is warming up. So if you need anything done around the house that you've been putting off all winter, reach out to David at 812-989-5002. He will get you taken care of. Our racetrack spotlight being brought to you by JT's Trackside Catering. If you have an event that you need catering for, no event too big, no event too small, reach out to Jeremy Thomas and the guys at JT Trackside Catering. They have the best home cooked food that you can get anywhere at a very reasonable price. So reach out to Jeremy Thomas and JT's Trackside Catering. And our Bandit Race Cars question of the week. This has become one of our most popular segments. Fans, and one thing I want to say about this too, guys, you can send questions in. We get a bunch of questions and we circle through them. Some of the stuff, we save for certain weeks. So, if you got a question, send it. It may get used this week. It may be a few weeks, but we'll get to it. I promise you. But if you need any shocks done, anything modified racing related, Brian Barber at Bandit Race Cars, but he is a Fox Shocks dealer, so he'll help you with any type of shock that you need. You can run street stocks, crate late models, super late models. You need it, Brian Barber can get you taken care of. So reach out to Bandit Race Cars. All right, there was the opening. News of the week this week. All is right in the sprint car world. Lucas has a new man on top. I don't know if everybody's seen that, but this week's Lucas Oil Late Models was absolute fire all week long. Speedweeks is finally over. We'll discuss that a little bit. I can't believe that Speedweeks took 6 weeks to get done this year. I don't really know how I feel about that yet. I think I like it because there's racing on every night of the week. But we'll see, at what cost as we get towards the end of the season. Race fans have to do better. We had some race fans be some knuckleheads, and we're gonna cover that. And then Southern Illinois Racetrack has to push back its opener. They have a little bit of a weather issue that turned into a facility issue, and we're going to talk about that. So all that and much more on this week's Trading Sliders podcast. First off, we'll start off with race fans have to do better. Lincoln Speedway last week had the icebreaker. Weather was phenomenal. Race was actually really, really good. But the police were called as the race was over. And it's bad when the racetrack's got to make a statement on it. And the Berwick Township issued a statement. The racetrack issued a statement. Police were called for unruly behavior. Unruly behavior means there were some knuckleheads doing donuts in the parking lot and drag racing and doing big burnouts in downtown Lincoln, Pennsylvania, or Abbotttown, Pennsylvania. First off, guys, we have to do better than this. I mean, I get that it was the first race of the season. I get that the icebreaker always brings out the most rabid fans who's been, coddled up all year and, have cabin fever, and they're ready to see racing in a part of the country that absolutely loves sprint car racing. But we can't be doing burnouts and stuff and doing donuts right there in the city, in the town. As much as a young me would say, yeah, that's a hell of an idea, and older me says, quit being a dumbass. So just, guys, we got to do better than that. There's not really a whole lot. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that, but I mean, just use your head. That goes for all events. You're leaving the racetrack. Don't, there used to be a old saying that Chris Nunn used to say all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, leave the racing at the racetrack. As you were leaving, the announcer said that, Chris Nunn, old announcer at Brownstown Speedway. But let's just leave the racing at the racetrack. That right there is just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever why anybody thinks that's a good idea. Moving on to the next subject. So Southern Illinois Racetrack, Brownstown Bull Ring has to cancel all of their March events. And the promoter of the Brownstown Bull Ring said he was going to buy one of Kyle Bronson's new shirts, referring to if it be raining vaginas and I get hit with a wiener. Brownstown Bull Ring had 7 inches of rain, and with that 7 inches of rain, it washed the backstretch wall out onto the racetrack. I mean, just absolute mess they got going on there. So I think they had two practices scheduled, and then at the end of the month, I think it was like the 27th, they had a MLRA late model race. That's been canceled. I don't know if there's a makeup date for it, but they're going to take 3 or 4 weeks, let the grounds dry out, put the backstretch wall back up. It's on social media, so it's on the Brownstown Bull Ring social media page. If you look at it, it's not as bad as it could be, but it was getting pretty bad pretty quick. So hopefully the guys there, the guys there at Brownstown Bull Ring get that taken care of, because I know they just took on, twice the work and doing I-55 Raceway as well. So what they really need is some cooperation with weather and the facilities. 1 racetrack is hard enough to run. 2 is extremely tough to run. So hopefully they get all that taken care of. The World of Outlaw Sprint Car news. All is right in the world of sprint car racing. It's been 510 days and 84 races since the 10-time World of Outlaw Series champion Donnie Schatz won Sprint Car A Main. 84 races, and that streak come to an end Friday night at the Hornets Nest at Talladega Short Track. Donnie Schatz finally breaks through. 25 cars on hand. Schatz started on the pole and won, but it wasn't like the track was rubbered down or anything. Actually, the track was in really, really good shape. Sheldon Hodenschild was banging the boards, giving him the run. But, I mean, Schatz put a complete night together. Qualified, I think, second. Won a heat race. Won the dash. Donnie Schatz, there's a bunch of rumblings. Is Donnie Schatz back? Or, Donnie Schatz is back. Look at this. Guys, let's just pump the brakes on that. Yes, it's tough to win win a World of Outlaw sprint car race. And yes, it's 4 races, 510 days. But in the same token, Donnie Schatz never left. He never went anywhere. Guys get in slumps, and when you're racing against the best racers every night of the week, it's tough to win. There was some stuff going on at Tony Stewart Racing where Schatz didn't have full support, so to speak. And then in the same token, Tony Stewart Racing didn't have full belief in Donnie Schatz. So sometimes stuff just doesn't work out. You would hope that the ending between the two parties, was a little bit better ending. He was hoping that the breakup would have been better. But I was told a long time ago, usually there's never a good breakup. So when you get to that point, Schatz didn't get to go out on his terms because he felt like he was still competitive. And, he wasn't ready to retire yet. And, Stewart was ready to move on. Let's just leave it at that. Donnie Schatz did pick up a win. I'm glad he broke the losing streak because sometimes, a change of scenery is good for everybody involved. But, Donnie Schatz, I'm glad for Donnie Schatz getting the win. And what I really like is, in Victory Lane, Connor Wade kind of asked him about it. And Schatz was just like, hey, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be competitive. I'm supposed to be doing this. So, there was no relief like, hey, I'm glad. He just said, my age, these things are getting tougher and tougher to come by. So, we start to appreciate these a little bit more. But like I said, 25 cars on hand. Track was good. I want to say hats off to Talladega Short Track, because for years that place was known as a very one groove racetrack, and they've worked really, really hard at making that a multiple groove racetrack. The track was really good the other night. It was just a little. I don't know if it was slick or it looked kind of like it tapered off a little bit off too, but Sheldon would get a great run into one, and he would lose momentum coming off two, and he would make it up in 3 and 4. But Talladega Short Track has been doing a phenomenal job at track prep, and it is going in the right direction. Sucks that Saturday night, like Shot said, it sucks that Saturday nights got rained out, because once you win one, you're ready to keep going. So they're going to look to continue their winning ways this weekend, coming up in Kennedale, Texas, another bull ring. Shots growing up and racing in Iowa on the big tracks, kind of becoming not a bull ringing expert, so to speak, but I think on the bull rings, the car don't have to be exactly right, and then that's when the talent comes in. So Donnie Schatz, kind of looking forward to this week's upcoming event. All right, now it's time for our Bandit Race Cars fan question of the week. This comes from Tim from Salem, Indiana. Tim writes in, said, I've noticed that USAC car count has been down in Florida. Is Wing Sprint Car Racing finally putting USAC out of business? What can be done to save USAC? First off, Tim, no, the Wing Sprint Car Racing is not putting USAC out of business. Is Wing Sprint Car Racing paying a lot and have a lot of hoopla now? Yes. All sprint cars racing is really successful right now. Does USAC struggle in certain things? Yes, it does. In my opinion, I've been on record for saying that I believe non-wing sprint car racing is the most exciting form of racing there is. No downforce, all horsepower, just kind of like the moniker, ruts and guts. I mean, you just got to go, especially on quarter-mile bull rings. I think a couple things that USAC does really well. One thing that they do well is like their Eastern Storm and their Sprint Weeks. They put together really great mini series. So like USAC Indiana Midget Week, USAC Sprint Week, Eastern Storm. They used to do the Thunder Through the Plains. So one thing USAC does really well is they put together mini series, and they have special events that they can draw major car count at. One thing that I don't think USAC does very well is I think they try to get outside of their area just a little bit. And who am I to say this? But not all regional series are created the same. With USAC, it's more of a Midwest base. The bull rings to 3/8 mile kind of showcases their cars the best, in my opinion. So instead of, making the drive out to Texas, I love the West Coast trip because there's a lot of non-wing racing out there. But I think USAC could utilize, a few bull rings in Illinois that they're missing. They go to Macon, which is a phenomenal show. But I think they need to go to Jacksonville. I think they need to go to Fairbury. Because those racetracks are heavy, black dirt, and would produce excellent non-wing sprint car racing. So, no, I don't think USAC's going out of business by any means. They still have 100 races a year, but I do think that there's some things scheduling wise they could do to help improve their car counts. And, let's just be honest, there's not a whole lot of non-wing sprint car racing around the country right now, except for in the state of Indiana. Missouri has a little bit, California has a little bit, but most of it is in Indiana. So, if you're going to try to pull a major car count, and you don't have 25 guys on the tour, you're going to have to run within reasonable traveling or do some co-sanction stuff. You could do some stuff with the Boss and some stuff with the Midwest Thunder Series, and I see that there is a couple co-sanction races this year. So, but overall though, USAC's going to be just fine. All right, now to the Lucas Oil late models at Golden Isles. First off, if you didn't see these races this week, it was the final week of Speedweeks. I said this in the opener. I don't really know how I feel about Speedweeks being 6 weeks long. I know if I lived in the Florida, South Georgia area, that I would love it, and because you can go to the racetrack all the time. And this week, the final week, the racing was incredible. But there's a lot of equipment tore up especially in the late model world, over the last 6 weeks. There's a ton of, engines broke, cars destroyed. So I don't know what kind of a toll this is going to take on a whole season of racing. So with that being said, yes, I enjoyed the Speed Weeks. I enjoyed having something to watch every night. Kind of got us from the original Speed Weeks, the end of January all the way till March. I mean, here we are mid-March, and there's racing in the Midwest. So, it brings you right to the core, and everybody's excited. But also, in the same token, how much damage was done. Only time will tell on that. But Golden Isles had 40 cars over 40 cars every night. Racing was phenomenal. I said this last week on the Racetrack Spotlight, that Golden Isles is a place that races really good when the track is right. And when the track is right, I mean slick in the middle with a little bit of character and a cushion on the wall. And the track was right every night that the cars put on the racetrack. Hat tip to the Golden Isles Speedway crew. They did a phenomenal job. Superman took the win Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday, he tied Scott Bloomquist for the winningest dirt late model racer in Lucas Oil Series history. Friday, he takes the win and surpasses Scott Bloomquist. And then now we have the debate: where's Bloomquist, Moyer, and Davenport? Where they all rank? That's for another time. We're not going to get into that this week. Yes, Davenport is one of the top to ever do it. Yes, he had the $1 million season. Yes, he's benefited from higher paying races, but he's also, won a lot of his races have been won with super tough competition, and everybody has good equipment. But one thing I am going to say, Davenport went pick and choose this year because he knows what he's good at, and then he knows what he's not good at. And what he is good at, he said, I'm just going to go do that this year, concentrate on that. And, Davenport, Jonathan Davenport looked like the Jonathan Davenport of the old, throwing sliders, banging the wall. I mean, he was leading with 5 laps to go Friday night and still put it in the fence. Just driving the car for everything that it's worth. So a focused and determined Jonathan Davenport could mean trouble for the guys the rest on the tour. Hell, until Friday, nobody, Wednesday and Thursday, he led every lap. Nobody else even led a lap. Friday's night feature was really good, but not to be outdone by Saturday night's feature. Saturday night, we're going to get our slider of the week and our crash of the week and everything all involved in Saturday night's feature. So Saturday night, the $25,000 to win Speed Week finale at Golden Isles Speedway. Trey Mills started 5th, took the lead, hit Overton with the slider first, and then Mills was driving off, really. I mean, Trey Mills was just running absolutely a phenomenal race. Then a caution come out, about 15 to go. Once the caution come out, Hudson O'Neal, who's the hottest dirt late model driver in the country right now, overall through all of Speed Weeks. I think Hudson's 7 or 8 wins on the season already. The hottest driver in the country. He throws a slider on Trey Mills, And Trey Mills was like, hey, Huddy, if you're going to win this thing, you're going to earn it. I mean, they went at it for 3 or 4 laps, just throwing bombs on each other, video game style sliders. While this is going on, Max Blair came from 25th to, I think, 4th at the time. And Devin Moran came from 22nd to 5th at the time. And Trey Mills and Hudson O'Neal, they traded sliders back and forth. And Mills took the slider and drove it down the corner. And this is where the DL Handyman remodeling crash of the week comes in. Mills puts the right rear in the fence, gets up over the curb, hits it with the right front. As the car gets up in the air, Hudson O'Neal has nowhere to go, falling in his foot tracks, and just absolutely slams him. Mills goes end over end outside the racetrack. Heartbreak Hotel for the 17-year-old St. Augustine, Florida racer. I mean, the kid has tons of talent, but more importantly, he handled his interview with Grace. And after the crash, most kids would throw their stuff and be pouting off, and he just says, man, I screwed up. I got in the cushion too hard, and I fenced it. So DL Handyman Remodeling, crash of the week goes to Trey Mills, leading his first ever national tour race and puts it out of the ballpark. But not to be done. There were 7 laps left, and Max Blair had the lead. And we had to restart, and we get going. And all of a sudden, Devin Moran gets a big head of steam on the top side. Max Blair is kind of run the middle to the bottom, not really like blocking the slider line. He just kind of gave Moran, all the room he wanted up there. And about 4 to go, Moran got a big run in 1 and 2 and turned underneath him down the backstretch. And this is where the slider of the week comes in. Devin Moran drives it in deep and sells it cheap going into turn number 3. Slides across the nose. He gets into Max Blair. Didn't really rough him up, but he did get into him. I mean, that's for sure. And Blair said after the race, he wasn't that mad because Moran's one of the good guys, and Moran apologized for it. But Moran caught him so quick. And, he had one move to make, and he made it. It's kind of, as T-Mez would say, is all of racing now is kind of slide or die. If you got an opportunity to take it, you better take it because you may not get another opportunity. And this week's Speed Decals slider of the week comes from Devin Moran, 22nd to the win for $25,000, and a great finale there at Golden Isles. So Sprint Car Racing had a good comeback story with Donnie Schatz this week, and late model racing. They had their storylines with Jonathan Davenport becoming the all-time Lucas winner. And the 17-year-old Trey Mills selling a lot of T-shirts, banging the boards. But that's what went on this week. Like I said, I'm a little bit under the weather, but we're going to get off here. There's a little bit of background noise of this, but I promise you're going to want to stick around for the whole interview because T-Mac, Terry McCarl, 8-time Knoxville track champion, 8-time Huset Speedway track champion, one of the last true racing families in the business, and we had a special guest cameo in this. Wife Lori set in, and I didn't say set in. She just kind of joined in the conversation. So we kind of get a husband and wife, a mom and dad look of racing on the road. So this week's deep dive is T-Mac, Terry McCarl. It's time for the Trading Sliders Deep Dives presented by Kentucky Clutch and Performance. Wait, how do you pronounce it? Is it Altoona, Iowa? Is that close?
Altoona.
Altoona. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so I can screw up everything.
There you go.
But T-Mac, Terry McCarl, the original T-Mac, and we might make the late model guys mad, but the original T-Mac, Terry McCarl, let's say legendary. Can we call you a legend here?
I don't know about that, but you can call me. I've been called a lot worse.
But well, I'm gonna go legendary sprint car racing. I mean, when you're in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, you're good in my book. So we're gonna go legendary sprint car racing.
Well, thank you.
See, I always got to start off nice before I get.
Then you're gonna attack me.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come at you.
That's all right.
All the craziness here. No, so you've been doing this, is it 30, 35 years?
40. I'm getting old. I'm 61 now, so I've been doing it about 41, 42 years. So
42 years beating up and down the road, and here we are. He's 20 hours from the house. Seems like he's been in Florida for damn near a month now. It probably has been close to a month, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, we came down to watch my son Austin race Volusia, and then we ran North Florida, Lake City last weekend. Got a win down there last Saturday, and then we come up. Our plan was to come here last weekend, but they canceled, added a bunch of dirt or whatever, so they canceled last weekend's, and of course now we came this weekend with the USCS.
Well, it was probably a good call last weekend. The track had a little say character. When
you dump that much dirt on it, I appreciate the new folks that bought it, and I think they're going to do great things with it. But yeah, that's probably the right call to cancel it at that point and get things kind of worked out, get them, used to running an event, and they did a great job this weekend.
So, as sprint car racing has evolved, we can ask you about this because you've been through like 3 or 4 major changes. You went through the original tire wars, you went through everybody jumping on the World of Outlaw deal, and then the local racetracks, and you did most of your racing in the upper Midwest and Iowa, and so how evolved is the sport of sprint car racing now? Because right now, the money is astronomical, but it's like, are we going too far forwards, or where do you think we stand?
I don't think so. I'm glad, when I was a little boy, my dad raced, and I was begging him when I was a kid to race late models because they raced 3 or 4 nights a week. We lived in Des Moines, and the Iowa State Fairgrounds paid $1,000 to win before Knoxville ever did, and I wish he would have been a late model. I'd rather be a late model driver. They don't flip as many times as the old pushing flips, as you guys call them, but the purses are now coming up. The late model guys have always had a lot more places to race, a lot more options. There's just a lot more late models in the country is why too, but more organizations, bigger paying races, and I promote a race called the Front Row Challenge, and about 6-8 years ago I went to $20,000 to win, and that was one of the top 5 paying sprint car races in the country at that point, which is kind of sad at the time, And now with the Outlaws and the High Limit going out, competition's good, and they're both working their butts off to take control of sprint car racing, which means paying everybody a lot more money, which is good for my sons. I got 2 sons, Austin and Carson, racing, and they're both champions, and I'm excited about them being able to hopefully make some big money in the future racing sprint cars.
Well, speaking of the Front Row Challenge, was it your idea to come up with a foot race?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what happened was, during COVID, Huset was backed up on tires, didn't have hardly any tires, and we were kind of scared we were going to have to cancel our event. And I'm pretty tight with Huset, and they said they'd give each team 1 tire, so I cut out the dash and all that stuff just because it was less tire wear, car wear, motor wear, and I told them I'm just going to have a foot race. It's not very long. It's about 30 yards the most. I don't want to kill the guys, but boy, the fans really took to it. And the racers actually do too. They have a blast if you watch them. Kyle Larson, I'm just laughing and having a great time, and you see him in a different light, and you're not going to hurt your car, hurt a motor doing it, and it gives some of these younger guys maybe a chance to beat Kyle Larson in that deal, start ahead of him, and have a chance hopefully to beat him in the future. But the fans have really taken to it, and our event is a special event. You can do things like that. It's not a point race. It's the leading up to the Nationals on Monday before the Knoxville Nationals 410 race, and I come up with the saying, come to a party and watch a race break out. Patented. Anyway, come to a party and watch a race break out, and that's kind of what it is. A great way to start. There's so much pressure of the Knoxville Nationals and between sponsors and money, and it's the biggest event in the world, and so we're just riding on the coattails of that, starting the week off right with a big party and a fun event. It pays actually a lot of money, and my heat races pay basically $2,000 to $3,000 to win. We invert 6. So some of the teams are going to be starting further back in the A, get a chance to make a lot more money, and $21,000 to win, a pays back race. So great event to start on that Monday, August 10th this year, and we just do a lot of fun stuff for the fans. I got 2,000 giveaways every year for the fans. My wife makes up 200 little goodie bags, we call them, for the kids 12 and under. And they got light sticks and decals and T-shirts and hats and all kinds of different things in them for the kids. So we try to promote the sport. We just love sprint car racing.
Well, and where you're at, is it a 7 or 8-time Knoxville track champion?
Well, I've won the 410 7 times and the 360s once, so 8.
That's 8 where I'm from. So,
yeah.
So, and I'm trying. You see my notes. I don't really have any notes. I try to do all this off my head.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I try to do pretty. Is it? 8 or 9 Huset's track changes.
8. We're going to 8 up at Huset, yes.
Because what's fascinating to me is Knoxville is a big, wide open, and then Huset's, everybody thinks because it's black and heavy, but it's really kind of never gripped up. It's slimy, so it's 2 totally different style of racing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so how do you how do you be so successful at both different styles? Because it's like, you know, you run Knoxville on Saturday, and then once you make the drive up Houston, you got to totally have a different mindset.
Well, I always said that, taught my sons that, you know, Knoxville will make you famous, but Houston will make you a race car driver. So with that wall around, it's pretty intimidating, and you're doing, I have the track records 10.3, so you're doing some really fast laps and in traffic right away and banging wheels and doing wheelies and that kind of stuff. So if you want to be an all-around driver, racing the World of Outlaws someday or the high limit and do it professionally, you need to be able to race on any type of surface. So I think my boys are going to actually race there a lot more again this year, and you know, so you need to be able to adapt to any surface, size, track, and anything that they might throw at you, especially when you're on the Outlaw Tour.
Well, Huset's is kind of my type of, you know, stomping grounds. I'm a Midwest guy, so I have all the, you know, Indiana non-wing tracks. Bull rings just got to go. That's you know, the Huset's is, you kind of drive a wing sprint car non-wing style at Huset's. You got to bend it a little bit. You got to do have you done you haven't done much non-wing racing, have you?
Yeah, I ran East Bay one year, and I've ran Knoxville a couple times with the non-wing. I love non-wing racing. I don't want to flip any car. I just don't want to flip a non-wing car for sure. But my dad was he broke both his legs twice, broke his back. He raced, you know, mainly non-wing his whole career, and they're just a lot more dangerous. I think they're a lot more fun. It's a lot more driver, I think, and not so much horsepower. As you know, you still need smoke, but I love those guys. Those guys are pretty brave. I love watching them.
Well, that's me. Like I've always said this, and I could be totally wrong because I've come from the stock car world, so I don't know. I mean, but to me, it seems like 360 racing, you kind of got to use some non-wing aspects because you got to get some wheel spin at certain tracks. You can't really rely on the downforce as much. And am I somewhat close to that, or is it?
Well, it's just it is a little different driving style because, you know, a 410 sprint car has as much torque as a 360 has horsepower. So it's hard for me sometimes when I was racing 410s all the time to jump into 360 because you got to learn to run it in a 410. You got to run the throttle. It's got 900 and some horsepower, 750 foot-pounds of torque, and you got to kind of run the throttle, keep them tires underneath you. Whereas in the 360 a lot, especially early on in the night when it's heavy or sticky and you draw the back of a heat race or something, you got to flat foot. I always liken it to when you're off racing go-karts in the putt place. You got to keep that thing wound up, and if you lift, it takes a long time to get going. So comparatively to a 410, so a little different driving style like that, but it's still a sprint car, and they're still pretty darn fast.
Well, and sprint car is the most exciting form of racing there is. It's but that modified, I don't know, I'm sure you didn't get to see it tonight, but the modified main here was actually pretty good tonight.
Fun racetrack. Yeah, this is, I'm excited about these guys buying this place, and you know, they're certainly going to make mistakes. They're new at it, they're humans, but they mean well, I think, and what a great location, easy access for us as teams off the interstate. There's hotels, but I love Waffle House. Coming from Iowa, we don't have those things, but we love Waffle House.
That's crazy that you said that, because I've always wondered about that, because Waffle House in the South, like, I love Waffle House. I can eat it 3 meals a day. Yeah, I mean, it's just the goodness, stomach ache all together.
Yeah, you got some dirty forks and knives and it's perfect. It builds your immune system.
Well, Waffle House got dirt track racing written all over.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you mentioned your kids. How fun is it to see their success? Because not that they still have to do it themselves, but you mold them. You kind of said, hey, this is, you know, you prepare them to be successful. So when you sit back and you watch your sons, that's almost more fun than winning, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But it's very, very nerve-wracking. You know, when Austin first started, I was still racing pretty heavy, 100 nights a year or whatever. And one night, I think I got hurt and tore my bicep tendon out, and I was watching him. And my wife, she's an amazing lady I always tell people, you know how excited and crazy these little league parents get, grandparents, you know what I mean? Yeah. No offense, there's little to no chance their son's going to get killed or hurt, and it doesn't really cost that much to play.
Yeah,
really,
to play baseball. Yeah,
I said throw them in a 410 sprint car that costs $75,000, and they could get injured or killed or something, and then see how you feel as a parent. So I was watching Austin. I came back to the pits one time, and my wife goes, you know, I just realized you haven't really watched Austin race. And I go, no, because I'm usually racing.
I can't.
And she goes, you need to calm the F down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I was wound up. So, yeah, all those moms out there and wives and any parent of a child racing any kind of go-kart up, it doesn't matter. It's pretty nerve-wracking. And, more than anything, you don't want them to get hurt, and it might, you want them to do well. And for me, that's why I kind of backed away from 410 racing, because I can't race my kids. And I was following Carson one night at Knoxville, right on the fence, and he about dumped it right in front of me. And I mean, all the things that went through my head in one spot, and I just go, I can't do this. I can't. I'm trying not to hit my own kid and crash, while he's crashing. But so that's why I kind of moved down to 360s. Really, is to get away from them. But it's pretty nerve-wracking. But when they do well, and you see how hard they work. Both of my sons build their own race cars from top to bottom by themselves. They drive their own rigs. They fuel the engines. They do everything themselves. And more like my dad. They're good mechanics, like my dad. And I always tell them, we aren't a big rich family. We can't really afford one of these big high-dollar mechanics. So if you can get one, great. But if you can't, you need to be able to do these things yourself if you want to race.
Well, that's the way my dad and my grandpa brought me up. When I was 8 years old, I was welding cages together.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
I'm a fabricator.
That's great.
So I can. As you
got
can tell
skills
my
now.
Look at my face, though.
In today's world, you'll always have a job. That's good.
Yeah.
Most of these kids don't have those kind of skills.
So my dad was always like, you'll just figure it out. Like, I watch these kids race, and I see dads that are just in their shit the whole time. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I never had that experience, because my dad was like, he was a pretty successful racer, and he was just like, you'll figure it out. He never, I was like, well, Dad, what? I messed up here. Oh, you'll figure it out. And that was back before we didn't have video. Good video, I'm just like, well, I'm sucking here. I mean, what do you mean when the hell am I gonna figure it out, So what kind of dad are you? Do you say, hey, you need to really run this, or you say, good job, man, and just wait? Or a little bit of both.
I talked to him. My dad actually, was a race car driver. Then I drove for him, and he chewed my ass one time, and rightfully so. And we had a 2-day show at Huset's, actually. When I first went there, and I ran like 15th the first night, he chewed my ass all the way to the hotel, which is the only time he ever did it. And I won the feature the next night. So second time I ever raced at Huset's. But he never did that, and I really don't chew their ass. We try to talk, and they're super competitive, and I've learned, like my dad would come up to me right after race, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, just let me calm down. I'm wound up. So I've got to learn to not be like him and let them calm down a little bit and discuss it later in the week or later in the night or whatever, because they're pissed off if they didn't win or something happened. But, I try to stay. I finally chewed Carson's, and I didn't chew his ass out in California, but he was getting ready. We're at the Trophy Cup. It's a really big event. You got to get qualified. And I just told him, I didn't chew his butt. I said, listen, you can't lift. And it's really treacherous place qualifying. And he went in there and didn't lift and flipped his butt off. So I'm like, okay,
don't listen to me.
I'm never doing that again. I'm not telling you. I'm like back to like your dad. I'm like, you'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out, man. You'll figure it out. I could be wrong, but Austin kind of resembles your driving style a little bit.
Yeah.
And Carson's like, I'm going to do it exact opposite. Like, you guys can roll the bottom. I'm going to go up here and beat the fence. How are they so polar opposite? Because you see them and they're just kind of like, nah, that's your way. I'm not, like, it's almost like it's an instinct. Like, I'm not going to do it his way. I'm going to do it my way.
Austin was almost 10 pounds when he was born. He had a full beard when he was 13. He's always been a very, very mature kid.
You might want to talk to the wife then.
Yeah, no, here she comes.
You might want to talk to her.
But he's always been a real calm, cool, collected, mature person. And Carson's always been fun, normal kid. I liken him to the Kading brothers, Tim and Bud. Bud was, I felt like a real smooth, more not that he wasn't aggressive, but more calculated driver. And Tim was flat out, let her rip.
I'm just going to go for it.
Tim gasses her up. So they're kind of like that, I think. But, experience is catching up to him on that kind of thing. And that's when you get older, you kind of calm down a little bit. So Carson's out in Arizona racing tonight, ran 13th out with the ASS National Series, and he'll be racing again tomorrow night. And then Austin's coming back to race with the Outlaws here at Volusia here in a week or so. So, they're all over the place, but that's what's nice about the pay-per-view Hunt the Front or Dirt Vision or whatever, a Flow, that we can, if we're not able, like grandparents especially, but if we can't be there, we can watch them race.
Well, streaming gets a bad rap, but it's so amazing.
There's a lot of positives and negatives.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Because I did trade trading back in the day. Sean Buckley, I'm like, I
like Sean. He's great.
Yeah, so like I would hit Sean up because me and Sean, we go back like
he's
years.
good stuff.
Yeah,
Jack Slash.
Here's the thing, he may have done more for sprint car racing than like guys in the top of the sport. And the same token, he's also maybe put some black eyes on it. but that's just part of it. I mean,
not really. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is an awesome guy. But so me being able to come back, like I go to the races 100 nights a year. We do this podcast. I announce for a modified touring series. I build race cars, so I'm going regardless. But shit, Wednesday night, and I got nothing going on. I'm catching up what went on anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these kids they don't understand how great of a resource they have in YouTube and Dirt Vision and Flow. I mean, you can go back and watch your stuff. So, the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Kid from the Iowa, grew up in Knoxville, raced your ass off in Knoxville. How incredible is it? Do you ever just walk by the building and be like, oh shit, I'm in there? Or are you just like, that's turn 2? I mean, how do you do that? I mean,
I just, like I said, my dad was a sprint car driver. I've been going to Knoxville my whole life, and it's a huge honor, certainly, and I certainly don't take it for granted. But yeah, you're not going to believe it, but I've never really thought I was that great a race car driver. I'm just a really big fan, and I love sprint cars, and I love promoting them, and I want the sport to succeed, and so I'm pretty happy that they have the Hall of Fame, and it's kind of like when I can't believe my name's mentioned with some of my heroes, like Roger Rager and these guys that I grew up, and Jerry Blundy and all these guys. Joe Saldana was actually my favorite driver too, growing up. So Joey's father, and so to be mentioned with them, I'm like, I don't deserve that. These guys are way better than I ever was. But being in the Hall of Fames, I figured out it either means you're old or you're dead. So I'm glad I'm just old.
You're glad you're just old, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing though. You're being humble and saying I don't deserve that. But I mean, damn near 400 feature wins says you do. I mean, it's not like you raced not like you cherry picked. I mean, so 400 feature wins says, you know what, you do deserve. Don't ever sell yourself short.
Well, when you're in it, when you're a really, really competitive person, which I'm super competitive, I always have been. So are my sons, and when you're caught up in it, you really don't think about it. You're just striving to do better and better when you're winning. And you just want to win more, and you want to do better. And it's to me, it was never about the money. It was about winning, and I'm super competitive, like I said. But you don't take the time to really reflect on it. And most guys that are successful, Donnie Schatz doesn't sit home and go, man, I'm the baddest guy in the world. He's, I'm sure, just every day driving to be better, especially now. But now that I've gotten older and I'm slowing down, and I think about some of the stats that pop up that I did, I tell my wife, I go, oh my God, I don't mean to brag, but like, I can't believe how good we did. Like in Florida that one year, I won five features. I won all the big ones, both the finales at East Bay and the finale at Volusia, and made like $55,000 that year, which was a
hell of a year. Yeah.
I look back at that, and go, oh my God, that was crazy. Wow, we were pretty good in our days. So
well, but here's the thing though, and Pat Sullivan told me this one time, and it stuck with me forever, and it goes on with so many disciplines of sport or the racing. He goes, you never recognize true greatness while it's happening. It's always when you look back. You never you're like, I mean, I remember when Kyle Larson come to Indiana, 16 years old, you're like, this kid's good, but he's also ballparking it, every other night. You don't really realize it, but then you sit back and look like, oh shit, you may be one of the best ever. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So, Pat Sullivan,
he's one you definitely recognize that it's great. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, like, there's so many kids like that. Not Kyle Larson level. There's one Kyle Larson, but there's so many kids that really don't get the opportunities because of the way the funding is in the sport. And I think he's the ultimate, talent one. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
his mom and dad, to my knowledge, aren't wealthy people at all, and they brought him up and raced, and he got into Cup without bringing a bunch of money and stuff like that. So it gives you, same with a few other guys out there, but it gives you hope that if you have a kid with that kind of talent, you can get in there, maybe get recognized by a Toyota or somebody like that early on, and get one of those situations where they bring up young people. But it's racing is, no matter what, it's always been expensive. It seems really, really expensive, but it was expensive when I was a kid too. But back in those days, my dad built everything, so he could save a lot of money by doing that. Now that really doesn't happen anymore. Everybody buys it. But you got to get out there and do it. You find out how bad people want it, but it's like I said about my sons, you know, if you can't afford it or you don't have the rich parents, you're going to have to learn to work on them yourself and go help a team for a year, learn about sprint cars, learn about setups, what it takes, and then try to meet some people and find it right if you can.
Well, that goes for every discipline of racing. I say that all the time. I have kids. I coached high school basketball for 16 years, so I guess I'm kind of good with kids. I mean, I might MF them a few times, but I'm pretty good with them, I would say. But you know, and every time somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I want, you know, we want to get into racing," but my first thing is, hey, have him go work on a crew for 2 years before you ever invest any money, time, or energy.
100%.
Because the, you know, there's so much that goes into it. It's something you really gotta want to do. Like this is a different breed. I mean, and speaking of a different breed, you've been doing this for 40 years. How much longer are we going to do this?
Has my wife been talking to you?
No. She didn't say nothing about asking this or.
It depends what day you catch me. I'm in really good shape for as many bones. I broke both my legs and broke my back and shattered my hand. I broke a lot of bones, and but I still feel really good. I get around really good. I think I'm in really good shape. I mean, I had a good shot at winning tonight and lost our brakes, and you know, I'm still winning races or running up front. I'm still competitive. That's the key for me. And I still got a few people. You know, the problem is when you get older, people don't want to sponsor you and stuff. And I get that. You know, it's. I tell my sons, I said, we're quarterbacks. When Jimmy Jones loves you, you know, he'll let you date his daughter. But the minute you pull your ACL, you're out. It's business.
Yeah.
So, and that's just the way it is when you're a professional driver. You're hired gun and you know, with sponsors and things like that, they want those new young badasses coming up, and I get that. But
that's understandable. But at the same token, your body of work's got to mean something. I mean, damn.
Well, it does. I've got you know, Kevin DeBerg and Lauren Bosma's been with me since almost day one for 30 some years, and Kevin DeBerg, and I got a lot of sponsors been with me for 20, 30 years. So that's pretty cool that they stick with me and make it possible for me to do this. But I'm slowing down and backing up a little bit, and racing 360s a lot more and that kind of thing, and trying to hang out with the boys and with my grandbabies. I got 2 grandsons now, so that's pretty awesome. And you know, so I'm slowly fading away. I don't like those guys who retire, they come back and they retire, and that irritates me. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to slowly fade away, I guess.
Well, I like your method. You're not going to retire and come back. You're just going to race until you're done. I mean, and when you're done, you're just done. You're just like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
but see, you're never going to be done because your kids are in it. Grandkids are going to be in it. I mean,
that makes it better for me compared to a lot of people. You know, if I do quit, I don't have to go to sport because my sons are so. I can go hang out with them and and help them on their cars and go racing with them and that type of thing. So kind of an easier way to back out than some people quit cold turkey.
And the thing is, the driving is the easy part to quit. The lifestyle, being on the road, that's the hard part.
Yes.
Because when you're done, you're just like, all right, what the hell do we do now? Like when I quit racing, my wife's like, what are we doing next week? I'm like, hell, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. So I just took up. We went to the track more.
I went to college and I installed IBM. I got out of college and I installed IBM phone system at a company truck. All this stuff, making good money, a 401k, and I only did that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I quit. Took a chance to drive for Bob Vielhauer in a 12X Beaver tool and drill car in 1987, and you know, just. Ever since then, that's all I've ever done. People ask me, what do you do? I said, I race sprint cars. So, you know, in the winter times, a lot of times I've had odd jobs when we were younger to try to make ends meet, pay the bills, that type of thing. But, yeah, I've been fortunate, you know, like I said, especially with all the injuries, but to be able to do this for a living for all these years. And part of that is, you know, I've been involved in promoting some other races besides the Front Row Challenge. I've promoted some outlaw shows and all-star shows, gun-mount shows, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, that's where I'm kind of headed, is probably start promoting more sprint car races because I'm racing in general. I love all racing. Like you said, on pay-per-view, if there's a late model show or I'm watching something. When you're sitting at home, there's nothing on anything. You're like, God damn, what are we gonna do tonight?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna watch last week's shit that I missed.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. This is no joke. So we don't have. I mean, my wife and I'm fortunate enough I can travel 100 nights a year and go to the races.
That's great.
So, but I've got we call it a media room, which was the dining room on the side that we never used. Now it's got 3 TVs in it, and this is no shit. Any night of the week, I've got late model, modified, sprint car, midget. Every night, I've got 3 TVs going, and people say, how do you keep up with that? I'm like, that's all I've ever done, man. I was at the racetrack when I was 2 days old. That's all I know. I mean, that's just what
I'll stand here and talk all night. As long as my wife keeps bringing me White Russians.
Yeah, we're good.
You're like, man, he started slurring his words towards the end of that thing.
So, all right, your wife walked up. We're going to ask her. He said you're the greatest fan when it comes to watching your kids race. And he's the bad one. He's the one that's all wound up. How do you do it?
I don't have a choice.
So
I am a better fan. I am better at watching than he is. He gets way too wound up.
So 40 years of this, beating up and down the road. We're trying to be positive here.
Okay.
I'm on your side. I tried to talk him into retiring, and he said, "No, we're not doing that yet." So,
carry on his own.
are you still having fun?
Talk more.
Yeah.
Talk louder.
Yeah. Are you still having fun running up and down the road?
Oh, I'm still having fun. Yeah. I love it.
Well, I would hope so because he's
I'm
at
still
the,
here.
You know, he's at the point where he's not ready to leave. So.
Yeah. Did you ask me if I was ready to leave?
Yeah. No.
I still love it. It's all good.
So you don't get nervous when the boys are racing?
Oh yeah, I get nervous. No, I hate it.
Yeah.
Racing is a love-hate sport. You love it when you're getting ready to do it. You hate it while you're doing it, and as soon as it's over, you can't wait to do it again.
Well, that's the best way to explain it. Yeah, that's and like tonight when was you cussing him earlier, or was you gonna let it be the car's fault
the
tonight?
first time he kind of drove off the track, I was like, yeah, what the hell was that? But I figured out pretty quick that there was an issue. So.
Well, it had to be. I mean, he's like a Hall of Famer. I mean, that's crazy to think that you're married to a Hall of
Famer.
Oh, no,
He's an actual Hall of Famer.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, but it's. I mean, you're married to a sprint car legend. Is that? I mean, does that ever get old, or is it just? It's just Terry.
It's my normal.
Yeah. Okay.
But something you don't know is I met her when she was 12 and I was 14. So she didn't know anything about racing. She had no idea about racing. And this is no lie. I told her back then very early, I said, someday I'm going to marry you and I'm going to be a race car driver. And she didn't know the race car driver part. She should have ran.
Yeah.
She should have took off running then, but she screwed up.
Well, here's
Young and dumb.
Yeah. Well, here's what's really funny. So my wife and I, my wife's from a racing family as well. But we were, that's what we call hobby racers. They race once a week at one track, and my family, we raced all over. So our first date, I took her to the racetrack, and I said, "This is what I do at least 3 times a week." A lot of times it involves 7 days, and that was 25 years ago when we're still together.
That's good.
She's actually hanging out, probably watching the street stocks while we're back here doing this.
Good woman.
Yeah, so, I say this, and you guys can vouch for this. A family that races together is a family that stays together. Because if
you don't have time to do anything else.
Well, here's the thing. He comes off the track, and he's super pissed off. He had a bad night. So, you know what it takes. It takes 20 minutes, it takes 10 minutes, or it takes hey, you screwed up, and you just get it over. So, if you can get through the bad nights, the good nights are easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Good nights are why we keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what you said is true though. Like I spend more time with my sons and their wives. We're together all the time. When we eat dinner 2-3 nights a week, we're constantly talking. We're always together. So yeah, we're a really, really close-knit family, and that's racing. And our crew guys throughout the years, all that become family, and it's you meet a lot of great people. There's generally most people in racing are pretty damn good people, really, I think. And so we've met a lot of great people, a lot of great friends. Coming to Florida, even my friend Randy Burnett was here. I've been friends with him for 30 years. He's from the Tampa area. He drove all the way up here to help me.
He's going to take you to breakfast in the morning too. You don't know this yet, but you're going to breakfast with him in the morning.
Yeah, he always takes care of me, and always been around, gets us whatever we need. And, gets us places to go wash our car and do all the things. And these guys right here are from Alabama. We've been friends for years too. Actually, he lived out in California when I raced, so became friends out there. So racing's, I love it. It's for these young kids coming up, like we talked earlier. If you can kind of use it against them. Like you don't get good grades in school, you don't work hard in school, you can't race your go-kart, you can't race your quarter midget or whatever. So you can kind of use them against the kids a little bit to get them to work a little harder, work in school or out at the shop or whatever, teach them a good work ethic. So I think there's a lot of real positive things about racing.
Well, that's me. I've at the point in my life that I mean, I'm not gonna say racing saved me, but I mean, there's a lot of kids in my neighborhood that didn't, you know, they went on to be jackasses. Let's just say that. And because I was in the garage, I was in the shop. I grew up pretty quick because I was around a bunch of old guys that was racing, so I didn't know no better. I mean, I thought everybody did that. You know, for my first 10 years of life, you know, I'm like, you guys like play baseball on the weekends? Really? Like, how do you got time to go to the racetrack? Like, I mean, like, I didn't know no better. I thought everybody did that. So I think it's cool, and it's really fascinating that, you know, you guys are, I won't say one of the last true racing families, because there's plenty of them all over the country. But you got kids winning track championships, you got kids on national tours, you're in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, you've won 16 track championships, 400 features. So, I mean, it's a racing family.
Yeah. It's all consuming. If you want to win and you want to get to that level, it's very, very, that's the hard thing about for Lori and for the wives and the moms and everything out there is this, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
you were 10 years old and you're in the shop working and all those guys were out there. Think how much time they were spending in there. But your mom knew where your dad was at. He wasn't out playing poker or, you know, at some strip joint or something somewhere. He was out there working on them cars. So,
yeah, we weren't running the streets. And if we weren't home, it's because we had to go borrow something from somebody because shit was broke.
Yeah.
But we'll be back, though. I mean, we're coming back.
That's a fact.
But who helps you? I know you mentioned some of your sponsors, and I try to do this real organic, no cookie cutter. Not going to ask you your favorite racetrack because it's pretty damn simple. I mean, it's got to be Knoxville. I mean, so I'm not going to come out here and...
Actually, not.
It's not?
No.
Okay, well, maybe I am going to do cookie cutter shit.
You know what sucks is two of our favorite racetracks, me and my sons, were I-80 Speedway in Nebraska and East Bay. And man, East Bay closed it is brutal. I mean, I have pictures of my dad racing there in the late 70s, and I was the all-time feature winner there, I think, for Speedweeks for the sprint cars. And it's just, you know, like Randy Burnett, our friend, Burnett's Rocket Landscaping, and all the friends we've met down there. I mean, I'm good friends with all the carnies. All week long last week we were hanging out at the carny headquarters there at the Showman's Club, and that's where all the carnival people from all over the world come every year about that time. So good friends with a lot of those folks, and carnival people are a lot like racing people.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Carnival and racing is kind of goes hand in hand.
But East Bay is always one of our favorites, and you know, Huset's of course, and I've won 100 features there. But part of it is, you know, obviously when you win, you like tracks a lot more. But it's how the fans are and how the people are. And the people at Huset's especially were so into it. They're so hardcore. You know, when they love you, they love you. They hate you, they hate you. But they were coming out to watch. I mean, the things I tell you stories forever about them booing me and making signs they hated me. But no, it was great. It was awesome. It was, you know, like WWF. They need the guy.
Well, they knew you was there if they're making signs. I mean, they're like.
That's a problem I think with social media and these things now. Like, I didn't mind being the bad guy. I'd egg them on because I was a promoter. I mean, I knew, you know, you need the Iron Sheik and you need you know.
Oh, now
Hogan.
Hold on. Now he's talking my language.
Yeah, there you go. So
See, I'm gonna let you in a little secret.
Guys.
My little brother was a professional wrestler for about 8 years until he met his wife, and she said, "You gotta get a real job." so you're really talking my language. Like AJ Styles slept on my mom's couch when they were traveling.
Yeah,
so now you're talking good guy, bad guy. I can roll with that.
No, but I would do that to egg the fans on. I'd get out, get them. They'd be, but I just tell them, hey, don't swear. There's a lot of kids up there, but boo me all you want. I'd egg them on, and they'd boo the heck out of me. But that was fun. They were coming back. They were packing the grandstands, and we were winning a lot of races. But now it makes it. You know, I look at my sons and I'm like, I don't want them to be the bad guy because of social media and these
corporate
people,
image too.
corporate people aren't. I'm not going to say they're not smart enough, but the bad guy sells a lot of I was selling T-shirts by far than anyone there. I was getting the most exposure than anyone there by far. But you know, so you got to walk that line there. But you know, for me back in the day, you know, social media wasn't really around. It was just coming on, that type of thing. But I wish pay-per-view was happening back then because we were winning a lot of races. We'd have sold a lot more shirts, selling them online more than we did then. So. But, you know, you need the good guys and the bad guys, and really to be either one, you have to be a winner. To be a good guy or a bad guy, you got to win races.
This is going to take it back a long time. Were you did you run the midget event at the Kemper Arena where nobody got paid that time?
Yes.
I was there, so that's why I'm going to want to ask this. So I was thinking, it was a blue midget, wasn't it?
Yeah, I flipped going 5 miles an hour, and I mean, I hurt myself. I'm not joking. I was going.
I was there.
So Mandy Pittman, Darren Pittman's wife, and my wife had a stand up there selling T-shirts, and I flipped in the heat race, and we were not going 30 miles an hour, honestly. And I mean, it freaking hurt. And I went up to him and I was kind of whining. I'm like, and they both called me a bitch. They were like, "You are a pussy."
Yeah.
Can I say?
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, but you're a
there's
pussy.
There's 2 words you can't say because YouTube would kick it off, but it don't matter. I can delete it out.
Mandy and Lori both laughed at me, called me a pussy, and said, "I was like, you were like, oh, 20 miles." Man, I know, but it freaking hurt.
Yeah. So that whole Kimber Arena deal. So I go there, and this is no joke. So I'm standing at the drivers' meeting, and so I'm just there hanging out, and I'm at the drivers' meeting, and I don't remember the guy that was holding the meeting there, but he was standing up on that wall. And when I walked away, I said, "Ain't nobody getting paid for this shit tonight." I could already tell by the way he was talking. I'm like, there ain't nobody getting a dime for this.
Yeah. I actually got paid for that, but the one I didn't get paid for back, you're probably too young to remember this. In '92, I ran the Outlaws.
The Silver Dome?
We ran the Suncoast Dome down in Tampa.
Okay.
Now I wish it was the Silver Dome, but Suncoast Dome, we got paid for the first day. We never did get paid for the second day. At that deal. It was actually a pretty good race, believe it or not. It was a little flat track, and it ended up being a damn decent race. It's just if you're going to be inside, you're going to be in a dome racing, don't do it where it's 80 degrees outside. What's the Pontiac Silverdome or something like that would have packed the place, or Minneapolis or Seattle or something like that. They would have packed the place, but I mean it was nicer outside than it was inside, so that was kind of a dumb thing to do, really.
Well, I'm pushing for a major event at Lucas Oil Stadium, being so close to the house, but that's one of those things that I think they told the city it was going to happen so they could get some more funding, and then they kind of they could pull the plug when they wanted to. So it's just one of those things. Well, politics and racing. So you're a promoter. Let's ask a few things. I know Barry had his whole XR debacle, and I'm not gonna shit on him because I don't know him.
I don't either.
But what I do know is he paid major events, and I think late model, sprint car, everybody has benefited from it because Flo got behind it. It was like, whoa, hold on, we can't have this other promotion doing this. So everybody benefit from it. So did he screw some guys? Possible, but in the same token, everybody benefit from it. How hard is it, like when you're promoting your races, how hard is it to not make money, but also not lose your ass? Like, where's the fine line come in there? It's
way harder than people think. It's just like any job. Until you stand in someone's shoes, you never know what it's like. But these guys right here, there's so much. I just look around because I'm a promoter. The analytics of everything going on here. I mean, picking up garbage. Making sure the lights work, making sure you got a fire crew. I mean, there's so much behind the scenes. Until you've walked in someone's shoes, you'll never understand. Promotion is gambling, because I always tell people the most single important thing there is about promoting an outdoor event like tonight is the one thing you have zero control over.
Weather.
That's the weather. You could do the best promotion, you could do the best track prep, you could do the best promoter in the world, and it rains. And so I've had it happen. Or
there's a 30% chance that it is going to rain. That's the worst.
No,
the rain's not that bad. The percentage of.
We had a spring challenge one time. I mean, and it was in early April, and it was 70 degrees, which means we're going to pack the place. Are you kidding me? It rained all the towns, Pella, Knoxville, everywhere around Oskaloosa. People were calling Lori in the office and like, "Have you rained out yet?" She's like, "It's not raining here." They're like, "You're a liar."
Yeah.
I'm in Pella, it's pouring. You know what I mean? So which is 5-10 miles away, whatever. So and no one came because it rained everywhere but our track, so we couldn't cancel.
Yeah, I mean,
and so
that's the bad thing about social media, because back in the day, your ass would just drive and get there and be like, "Damn, all right, we're not racing, or we are."
They would lie because you'd call up and they go, "Oh no, it's not." But you didn't. It wasn't. No one was a meteorologist on their phone like they all are now. So and then you go, "Okay, I can just watch it on pay-per-view." So promoting is very, very, very difficult. It's way more. I mean, if you got something to say, folks out there, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes the hot dogs are cold. What I say about the front row challenge, our thing's always been, if you come to our race, sometimes the racing isn't that great at an event. The track, surface, whatever, it rains, maybe camp out, whatever. We want you to leave and go, the racing wasn't that great, but we had fun. That's what we try to do at our event. But it's don't badmouth the tracks on social media. I mean, call the guy. Message him privately, say, "Hey, my hot dogs are cold, my kid got sick, your stands are falling down," whatever your complaint might be. Just private message him or call him personally. Don't badmouth them on the internet. That's the dumbest thing in the world. I didn't ever understand fans who love a sport and then get on there and badmouth. But they do it in the NFL, they do it in basketball, they do it in all. But
everybody's entitled to an opinion now because there's no repercussions for what you say.
Yeah, you don't get punched in the nose.
Yeah, nobody busts you in the mouth anymore, so there's no repercussions for it. I miss
that part.
Yeah. Well, see, that's because you're old school. Yeah, or old, as you said. Old or old school. I mean, you said it.
My sons tell me, Carson tells me all the time, Dad, it's not the 80s. You can't go just punch some guy. I go, damn it.
Well, I mean, you can. Now you just got to have a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to have a good lawyer if you're really pissed off at somebody. It's kind of like what Chris Rock said that one time.
Yeah.
You know, I got to be really mad at you to shoot this bullet. It costs $100,000.
That's kind of like bloody nose. I'd rather someone punch me in the nose than junk my race car. That costs a lot of money. I got to work on it. But.
Well, I used to say that too until 3 weeks ago. I took a cylinder to the face. I'm getting too old for ass whooping.
Just so you folks out there listening, he's got 2 black eyes, a big cut up between his eyes. When I first met him, I'm like, man, he pissed his wife off.
Yeah, well,
do not mess with his wife.
Well, I'll be honest. This is a funny story. She did hit me with a car once when we were dating. So we're at the race shop, and I told her we get in our young race shop arguments because I had a bad night, and it's 4 in the morning. I got to fix shit. So you know how it goes. So I hit her with well, just leave. And she gets in her car, and I'm like, well, hold up. My keys to the truck is in her car. So I told her to stop. She never even hit the brakes. I went across the hood like Bo Duke. I was like, into the pavement. I was like, shit, I guess I'm marrying her. Like, this is going to be fun.
I married an Italian. I learned real early in our relationship, don't piss her off too much or get some shit thrown at you. So.
Well, yeah, that's last name in with a
Val.
Val,
oh,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's bad shit there. I see why you've been racing for so long. He talked about the carny lifestyle. Hell, Italians, they're the original carnies.
They love it. That's why she loves me. I think she fits right into this lifestyle.
All right, who helps you get up and down the road? Who helps make this possible? Who helps make this still fun? You already put the damn car up. Now you're screwed.
Yeah. It's so much easier if you got one big major sponsor like a lot of guys do. But no, I just, like I said earlier, Lauren Bosma.
Thanks everybody.
Bosma Poultry, that guy, I got to think, he came on in 1995, has been with me, he's become a great friend. I mean, that's the thing, he became a friend. Kevin DeBerg Concrete, been with me about that long. And Justice Brothers, Gillen Enterprises out of Minneapolis, were on my very first race car I ever drove. I have that car.
Yeah.
I didn't own it, but the guy drove for it, saved it for me and sold it to me. And Justice Brothers, Gillen Enterprises, they've always been big time supporters of racing in the Midwest. And all those sponsors, DeBerg Concrete, like I said, Durst, Angler, Mastel Brothers, Jet Performance. We got all kinds of guys. Country Builder's been on for a long time too, and oh yeah, Pro Diesel. I've been picking. Actually, I lost a few, but I've been picking up a few. Yeah. I've been with Pro Shock since the day I started too. My kids laugh at me because they're all on these real expensive shocks. I still run Pro and kick their butts with them, so I love that part of it. Octane 8, Cox Metal Design. Janet Holbrook, good friend of mine. I drove for her 8H car. What was that, 1997, and we became lifelong friends. She's one of my best friends. I talk to her every day. She's been a supporter of mine for years, and it's great. I got some great people that I can stick behind me no matter what, and I don't know why they do, but like I said, we're still competitive, and maybe pick up a few wins for them this year. But
you already got one, so
yeah.
You already.
I thought we had a good shot out tonight. I was just, Chris was better than me out in clean air for sure. I wasn't going to beat him in clean air, so I just started searching around, trying to find. When you're leading, you can't do that kind of stuff. Search around. So you're second. I like to search around and find out where I'm good, where I'm bad. Then when we hit traffic, he doesn't know where he's good or bad. And I felt pretty good on the bottom in 3 and 4, and then all of a sudden I lost the brakes and hooked a rut, about flipped the damn thing, and then I ain't so sure I didn't break something in steering because it kind of got out of control, and no brakes for sure. But so we're still competitive, and hopefully we can have. We're in second in Sprint Invader points last year. I had it won and blew an engine, and so we're still hanging in there.
And speaking of Sprint Invaders, you get to run like 34 Raceway and Stewart, and I mean, like those are. I love those tracks. Like
I do too.
Those are just places that are that's so Iowa. It's like you're gonna have 500 stock cars. You're gonna get your 25, 30 sprint cars, and they're not going to wait for you at all. We're going to get the show rolling in an hour and 15 minutes. The whole thing's going to be done.
Well, what's nice about that is I love what you said, because we go to these places that don't get to see sprint cars, like this place maybe, don't get to see sprint cars very often. And when you roll in there, they really appreciate it. They love, because sprint cars are freaking fast. I don't, nothing against stock cars at all, but sprint cars are really, really fast and really dangerous, really, and they can flip pretty easy. So it's fun to bop into these places. Like when I was on the Allo Tour, I remember we went to out in the middle of Mississippi, this place, and I went on the grandstand to watch the first set of hot laps, and when these cars took off, these people shit themselves.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God. And they are. I watch sprint cars. I've been around them my whole life to this day. I watch them and do that. Go, oh my God, these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy. Those guys are crazy.
Yeah, I'm not going in nowhere near as crossed up as them.
Yeah.
And then look at the videos like, shit,
right,
I was way more crossed up.
Once in a while, I might be crazy.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Well, speaking of him earlier, though, he was so good at rolling in. It wasn't like four in the fluff, but he could roll above it and turn down.
Last night, he was really, we started beside each other, Chris and I, and you're talking about Chris, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually, we're buddies. He's from Des Moines. I'm good friends with his dad. And, man, he drove that thing way higher than anybody had been online with smoke. And Lori said he about won the feature, but I was like, wow, that's all. Go, Chris, go.
Yeah. Well, I was watching, I was like, man, he's kind of flirting with disaster.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was fluffing. It never really got
deep.
a curve. Yeah, it never got a curve. But I was
he
like,
was letting her rip.
Like, he's like, damn, he's back home in Iowa where the snow is. He's just going to pack that shit on in.
Yeah. That's fun. That was fun to watch him last night. So he deserved that win tonight.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and hell, we're almost an hour into this, so I appreciate you being so great.
My wife keeps making white rushes. We can cruise on into 2 hours.
I appreciate you coming on. I really do, and I'm going to get to some Sprintovator races this year, so I'm going to come by and I'm going to bullshit with you, and we'll have a good time because I love Iowa racetracks.
Sounds good.
They are fun. Hold on. No, I said we're done. I got a question. I do this a lot.
All right, I'm out of time. Sorry, I can't answer.
All right, well, screw you guys in Iowa then. He don't even care about you guys. Is there a chance that we're just going to, when we do retire, that we get a racetrack and we're going to be a promoter? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I really like the folks at Oskaloosa, the Fair Board, and I'm trying to help. I helped them with their Sprintovator show last year and got the Sprintovators coming last year and this year. So I'm behind the scenes kind of helping them with that. I don't have any monetary involvement or anything. I'm just
that's kind of help.
Well, I can't lose any money either, but I'm just trying to make it better for the track and better for Sprintovators and better for sprint car racing. But keeps me involved with some. I went and showed my car and talked about it the night before. They have a really big. Caleb Hammond was a young boy that passed away with cancer a few years back, and they have a big show for him the night before. So, we went out that night, did whatever we could to help promote it with the stock car folks, get him on. We put on a great show. I had a tire go flat before the start of the feature last year and went to the back and come up and ran third, and Austin ended up winning it. So it's a pretty exciting race.
Well, that is fun. Anytime you can go from the back to the front, and going from the front to the back kind of stuff.
Kind of the front row challenge.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it is. Yeah. But so with you being in Iowa, and you get your hand in everything. How much do you pay attention to the stock car stuff? Because it's IMCA capital of the world. How much are you like, all right, this is going to be my support division, or is it just kind of, hey, we're just going to run the 305s with this kind of sprint car guy?
Well, I just, for me at our event, our particular event, when I promoted outlaw shows, I like to have an IMC, like the IMC.
Stock cars?
No, the modifieds, but the
Sport
B.
mods.
The B mods at the time, but we wanted to get like 20 cars because that would bring a little more local flavor in it. It would attract some more of the local fans. But when you have an outlaw show, no offense with the people there that see the outlaws, I get mad at Knoxville for having even 360s at the outlaw shows. The people, there's 50 410s. That's all you need to put on a good show and get the show over to timely, so the folks can come down and meet Donnie Schatz and meet those, David Gravels of the world and that type of thing. Buy shirts from them, whatever. But if the kids start falling asleep, you get it over late. This is bad. It's bad for mom and dad. It's bad for dad especially. Get those kids down there and they fall in love. They get to meet the drivers and they fall in love with them, like I did with Joe Soldano in 1970 when I was 5 years old and met him. So I like the support divisions because it gives us time to get ready. And like I said, on the big events like that, I like to have a modified class or an IMCA class of some sort, stock cars, whatever is kind of big in the deal to get the local fans there. But like at my race, the Front Row Challenge is real sprint car fan base, so I have the 305s at our event, so it works out pretty well.
One thing though that I have noticed though, and a lot of people don't do this, I think them running the modifieds tonight helped peel the track up just a little bit. I mean it did get a little rough in coming off 3 and off 4 there, but
got rough down on 1 and 2. That kid dumped it for me, and I about dumped it too. So.
Well, yeah, but I think running the narrow tires just a little bit before sprint car main events kind of peels the track up a little bit, where you got some, so a lot of people don't look at it that way, but certain times it's needed.
Absolutely.
For racing purposes.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like I said, I like to have that type of second class just to draw a little more of the local fans who may not want to come to the sprint car bands or the sprint car races, and then they're coming to watch their local favorite modified driver, husband, or son, daughter, whatever, and then come out and see the sprint cars and go, wow, we got to see these guys again.
So, we're gonna end this in a good way. Instead of calling you the Hall of Famer and all that stuff like I did earlier, we're just gonna end and calling you the boy's dad. You're gonna be Austin and Carson's dad now.
I love it.
You're not gonna who's T-Mac? They're gonna your dad raced late models. Nobody's even gonna know what the hell's going on now.
It's the way life works. It's a circle of life.
Yeah.
When time goes on, they forget you. But it was funny. I was in Knoxville a few years ago, and the radio guy come up, and he's standing there like this, and I was like, oh boy, I know him. He's like, he wants to interview me. I'm like, boy, here he wants to interview me. And I kind of and I turned
Same
around.
Same shit he did to me earlier. He's like, oh my god.
And I turned around. All right, here we go. Let's do my interview. And he goes, so Carson, I'd like to speak to you. I was like, oh man,
thank you.
Oh no, it shot my ego down bigger than shit. So I was like, oh, that was awesome. It was awesome. I was thinking he was there to interview me. He's like, I don't want to talk to you, old man. I want to talk to the young gun.
I've already talked to you 15 times. You're going to give me the same damn answer.
Yeah, bullshit.
What an asshole. How's your boy doing? No. That's funny. But yeah, thank you for coming on. You guys have a safe trip back. When you get out to my area. Well, which way would you guys go up through Indianapolis and cut over, or would you go?
No, I'll cut over to St. Louis.
Okay.
Like I'll go up through like Nashville into St. Louis.
Into St. Louis, up 55.
57 up to there. So.
Yeah, you gotta go right past
24 to 57.
Yeah, go right past one.
Out of here, probably it'll be different. I'll go to Nashville from here, I think, is what we'll do. So anyway, who knows?
Well, the thing is, you're gonna go past one of my favorite racetracks in the ditch. I love that place. That's one of those places that I think gets a bad rap also.
Why not? Why? It's great. It's where Mandy Pittman's home track, where her dad, Mike Ward, was badass over there. So
I love that place. That's one of those places that I used to try to make it like 4 or 5 times a year, and now it's like once every 2 years. I'm like, I'm gonna go to this event, and then I've got something to do. I'm like, Jesus, can one of them rain out and reschedule the other week? But thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No worries. Anytime.
Good luck this year, and hell, we've gone 40 years. Might as well make it to 50.
Yeah, that's no.
But well, he said he didn't want to quit. Well, this is what he said. Honestly, this is you can go back and listen to it. But this is what he said. He said, I'm just gonna let it fade out. I'm not gonna retire and then come back and retire. So basically, whenever Austin or Carson's like, Dad, we need you to crew chief full time on the World Outlaws or High Limit.
They won't do that. I think I'm a dumbass. So like, you're a dumbass.
All right, well, everybody's looking for this. Dad, can you be the tire man for us? Yeah. And then he's gonna be like, all right, I'm good.
They're more into like, hey, Dad, can you drive the truck and trailer and shut up after that?
No, once we get to the track, go do something else.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, honestly, I look forward to that with my motorhome, and Lori and I just retired and pull around their t-shirt trailer and sit around, have margaritas, and talk to the fans and talk about how good I thought I was, maybe, and so I can see us definitely doing that, something like that in the future.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Famer, 16 track championships. That means 2 things.
Old
and good. Yeah, see, it does mean 2 things. I can't pronounce Altoona. Altoona. Okay. Well, kind of like Alhina, the modified racer, Altoona. Altoona, Iowa.
You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Always remember that.
All right. T-Mac, Terry McCarl. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was T-Mac, Terry McCarl, as he made fun of me, Altoona, Iowa. Making fun of my talking ability, but T-Mac, Terry McCarl, sprint car racing legend, 8-time Knoxville track champion, 8-time Huset track champion, better off known today as the boy's dad. And he's told a funny story about the local radio guy coming up there in Knoxville and going to ask him a question he thought, and he's like, oh, here he comes again. And he walked right past him and wanted to talk to his kid. He said, man, it shot my ego down. But yeah, great racing family. Had a little cameo experience there. His wife sat in with us there at the end, and gave her point of view, running up and down the road for 40 years now. They've been running up and down the road doing this racing thing. Funny story. Turned out that he said that sprint car racing and carny life is about the same. And when you think about it, yeah, the whole racing thing, dirt track racing itself is all just a little bit of carny in them themselves. You know, come to town, do your show, roll up, hit the road, and do it all over again in another town the next night. He's been doing that for 40 years. So really appreciate Terry McCarl taking time with us. Like I said, there's a little bit of background noise in that, but it was raining. There was a rain delay. There were street stocks racing in the rain. The announcer was screaming at the top of his voice. So there's a lot going on in that interview. But as we would say, Terry McCarl wouldn't want it any other way. So this week's upcoming events, I'm going to start off with the Racetrack Spotlight being brought to you by JT's Trackside Catering. If you need any type of catering event done, no event too big or too small, reach out to Jeremy Thomas. He'll get you taken care of. And this week's Racetrack Spotlight is the Attica Raceway Park in Attica, Ohio for their season opener, the AFCS Sprint Cars, the 305 Sprint Cars, and the Super Late Models. One of the best, absolute best weekly shows at any racetrack in the country. You get 410 wing sprint cars, 305 wing sprint cars, and the dirt car UMP Super Late Models run for a weekly track championship there. The Attica Raceway Park, quarter-mile high bank. It's been a long time since I've been to Attica. Last time I was there was a USAC. Actually, it's probably been 15 years. It was a USAC sprint and midget doubleheader on a Thursday night. Just super nice facility. They have a push-off area. It's got an old horse track around the outside. One negative about Attica is you do sit pretty far away from the racetrack because it's got a half-mile horse track around the outside of it. The positive of that is they can push the sprint cars off and they're fired up as they pull onto the track. Really nice facilities at the fairgrounds there. It's probably going to be a little chilly up there this time of year, so if you're heading up for the opener, make sure you take plenty of clothes. But the AFCS Sprint Cars, Dwayne Hancock that we had on from Dirt Nerds, he's the one that runs the AFCS Sprint Cars. He talked about this series growing and, get out and support their first event there at the Attica Raceway Park Friday night. And then Friday and Saturday, the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars are at Kennedale Speedway Park in Kennedale, Texas. You can find that on Dirt Vision. And then a little bit more locally, if you want a national tour this weekend, Friday night, the World of Outlaw Late Models are at the Bad Fast Bulls Gap Speedway. They're in Bulls Gap, Tennessee. It's the Volunteer Speedway. I've always called it Bulls Gap. It's the Volunteer Speedway, but at Bulls Gap, Tennessee, you can catch them on Dirt Vision. Friday and Saturday, the High Limit Sprint Cars open their season up at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson is going to go triple duty this weekend. He's going to run the Cup car and 2 nights at the dirt track there. You can catch them on Flow. And then Saturday, the World of Outlaw Late Models are at Smoky Mountain Speedway for the Tennessee Tip-Off Classic. You can find that on Dirt Vision as well. And Brownstown Speedway has got the Midwest opener. The Northern All-Star Late Models Homage, you can find that on Hunt to Front TV. The reason why we saved this one for last, because the grounds are awful soft in our area. And just, this is Monday evening. We got some more weather coming in Wednesday. So if you plan on making the trip to Brownstown, make sure you check their social media, because just knowing this time of year and the weather that we've had, I'm going to say it's 50-50 at best. And if you got nothing going on this week and you want to know what all the talk is about, Wednesday night, Millbridge starts their season. It just seems like 2 weeks ago they were ending their season. They're in January, but Millbridge starts Wednesday night for the wing and non-wing Outlaw Micros. Some of the best racing you'll catch all year at any track in the country, basically every Wednesday night from now until November. So check them out. We say this each and every week, but please like, subscribe, share, spread the word, tell people about us. We appreciate you hanging out with us each and every week, and we'll be back here next Monday. So until then, we'll be training sliders.